Well, thank you for having me. Yes, I was born in 77. I was born in Paris, a French mother, a German father. We moved to London when I was 2 or 3 years old. We spoke French at home. And when I was growing up, the Troubles was very much the white noise that was going off. You know, it was always on the news when I was growing up. It was always in the background. It was like throughout my upbringing, really, in London, even to the point where I was going. I remember I was coming out of a rave, I think, at one point when there was an explosion in the city. And so I remember these things vividly, but honestly, I didn't really ever understand it wholeheartedly. I didn't really understand the nature of the sectarian conflict. So it wasn't that I wanted to tell a story about Northern Ireland at all, far from it. I mean, a few years ago, I would have laughed if you said this was going to be my first film. I would never have believed it. Laugh's probably the wrong word, but I mean, you know, I was sent the screenplay. I was looking for a film for a few years. You know, I had people like Tessa Ross at Film 4 and people at Studio Canal and BFI that have been sending me stuff for the last few years. We've been talking about making a film, but you know, making a first film is so important. You have to really find something you connect with. At least that was my feeling. It might be the only chance you get to make a film. And this screenplay was sent to me, and I loved it. I mean, Greg's script was phenomenal. It was remarkable. It really, I knew straight away I wanted to tell the story. It felt immediately pertinent, as you say. It was relevant for today. I felt that, yes, it was set during the Troubles, but it felt like it transcended it, and the specificity of the Troubles and was universal. And it really struck a chord. And I was like, I want to tell Gary Hook's story. I mean, so what attracted me to it was the characters, the human story at the center of the narrative.
It was very relevant to me to try and perceive the kind of frame of mind. I didn't join the army because I was a murderous freak, or I didn't want to join the army for that reason. It was because I had no other option. And, you know, that's the story we portray with Gary. You know, he's not particularly politically motivated or particularly violent. You know, he's just got principles which require him to make a living.
When I went to see it last Friday in London, I was, apart from when I was in it like this all the time watching it, but the rest of it was, it just went down a storm. It was fantastic. I really was on the edge of my seat. Even though I knew the script backwards, it really took me for a ride.
Yeah, Yann was by my side, and he'd be like, we're away before this scene, and, you know, drilling into my head, and just, kind of having chats with me before the scene, and just kind of make me understand how serious it was, like, and stuff like that, so.
He's an amazing talent, Barry Keoghan. He's amazing talent.
It's kind of, there's a kind of fine line to tread sometimes with when you're, well, what I've found when you're writing a character who's a soldier is that, you know, it's very easy to portray soldiers either as, you know, lost little boys or kind of hired faceless thugs. And actually the army, particularly nowadays, is a bit different from that. It was a little bit different in the 70s, but nowadays, you know, armies the British Army is all volunteer. I mean, people do go join for a variety of reasons, and one of those reasons is to make a living. The army in the 70s was different. It wasn't as technically advanced as it is now, obviously. It was a much more kind of brute force army that was expecting to fight Russia, probably here, you know. So it wasn't an army that was designed for communal kind of uprisings or rebellions and things like that. It was designed to fight Russia on the North European plain. So Belfast was a kind of a forerunner for the kind of insurgencies that now most Western European armies or most Western armies find themselves embroiled in. It was. But the Gary character obviously had to be, you know, he just joined, so he wasn't one of these soldiers who kind of was kind of experienced in his job.
I mean, it was a really hard shoot. You know, we did 7 weeks of night shooting, then followed by 2 weeks of day shooting, and the last thing we did was the riot, which just exhausted everyone. It was grueling, but like it was.
And we got a heat wave in spring.
Yeah,
we had a heat wave in the north of England in spring. Wow.
We were shooting in spring, doing night shoots, so we're fighting the fact that the sun's coming up earlier and earlier every day. I mean, it was so hard. And it was insane. It's like the amount of energy that the cast brought to it. Like there was a kind of enthusiasm, a real camaraderie, a real sense of a team effort. I mean, it was really hard at times. We were underfunded, like all films are. So there's no point. It's not bemoaning it. It's just a fact. And so you had to pull together and make it work with the resources we had at hand.
Yann is a person of immense personal energy, and it was your first feature, and there was just an intensity there that kept us going, because they were all night shoots, so we were always filming at 4 a.m. or something, and
Yeah.
Yann dragged us all through it.